Welcome, everyone. This is Arch Gabe, and this is episode 5 of Keeping It Real. I know the last episode I mentioned that I wanted to discuss about urban, but I need to gather some more information, so I don't really have everything ready as I wanted to discuss on that topic. So something else came up. I felt like I needed to express this from the heart. In this episode, I decided to talk about three types of so-called truthers, and I'm going to explain that the three types of so-called truthers from my observation in social media and interacting with folks, from social media, from outside the web, and especially sharing stuff about what I've learned, uh, it's well researched material. And of course, those of you who subscribe to my channel, you probably pretty much know what I'm talking about. Yes, it's the 14th Amendment and this fraudulent system. But I just want to really discuss about these people who claim to be truthers, and I really got to say that a high percentage of people fail the litmus test. You pretty much understand what the litmus test is. But so I'm gonna discuss about these three so-called truthers. I'm gonna get right down to it, and maybe some of you out there will probably relate. There's people out there sharing some really well-researched material from your whatever thing that you're researching on, and you've been sharing for years or decades, and people just goes one ear at the other and all that stuff. So anyway, so I figure, after I share this, most of you will feel like you're not alone. All right, the first so-called truthers. Okay, this is I came up to my own list here. Okay, these three truthers here. The first one will be I call a fugazi truther. Okay, a fugazi truther. Fugazi is Fulgazi. Okay, a fugazi truther. Someone claims to be a truther, but only supports their belief structure created by the system. So, for example, when I talk to folks, share stuff about the system, and I follow a lot of people on Twitter, for example, and I look at their profile and their bio, and they talk about their truth seekers, truthers, and all that. And I'm like, okay, great. And you know, when I share stuff to those folks, this is not everybody. Okay, I'm not gonna say everybody. There are actually real truthers following me on Twitter. It's just very few. So anyway, when I share certain information to those people, um, generally I get crickets. Um, no questions. Nobody asks questions. What do I mean? For example, shucks. Yeah, like for example, why voting is a crime, or how come these people don't tell us why voting is a crime, or why any of these people in office didn't tell us that all political parties are one, as I share about the totalitarian party all the time. But those people that claim to be truth seekers or truthers, however they claim to be, they're quiet. Um, not a word from them. Now, honestly, if I put myself out there, I create let's say I just say I'm a truther. I mean, I am a truther. I'm always learning, but I'm gonna basically live up to that. You know, like so if somebody pass me information and and it's something I've never heard about it, but the person shares so much knowledge, just and to research, and it's been it's proven. Someone just shared to me some proven, great research material, but the information is, verified. I will thank the person. I will ask a lot of questions, actually. Um, you know, because I will tell somebody like, wow, I'm always learning. Uh, it's so much to learn. I mean, nobody out there knows everything. Okay, I never claim to know everything, by the way. So anyway, if somebody would share to me some information I've never heard of and is very interesting, and it applies to everybody, let's just say, applies to the general public, I would want to learn more about it. I really do. Um, I would definitely ask questions. I definitely will. So I'm always searching for truth, more and more. I mean, that's just me. So anyway, that's just want to leave it at that one. Now, now for the second one, a cherry picker truther. Oh yeah, I run into a lot of those. A cherry picker truther. Someone that picks certain knowledge to supplement their belief structure created by the system. So, you know, I have folks, for example, Trump supporters, for example, right? Could be Biden supporters, but I'll just want to just talk about Trump supporters because I have so many of them follow me. And from my experience, I have a lot of. I'm not gonna say all Trump supporters. I mean, it's just I just would say a lot. Um, they agree on different things. Like for example, I really always talk about research. Don't take my word for it. I give information. So I'll just say the totalitarian party again, right? Now, a Trump supporter will agree that yeah, this is a one-party system because they're saying that because that's the latest narrative that the system feeds them. Okay. So yes, they will agree that this is a one-party system. Okay. uh, they'll agree on different things to talk about. Like this is not our government, right? And I could tell them, I could just tell you right now why a lot of Trump supporters will say that this is not our government, because it falls under you know, the fraud, the whole voting scam in 2020. So a lot of Trump supporters will think that I'm talking about the 2020 election fraud. So yeah, they will agree that this is not a government because they don't agree that the Biden is the actual real president because Trump was cheated out. Okay, let's just let's just talk about that. So that's the narrative that the system feed them. So yes, they're going to agree that this is not our government. They will agree that this is a one party system, like I just say. The system, all right. They only going by a belief system, a belief structure that's created by the system. Depends where you stand. Okay, that yes, you have the so-called fake right party and a fake left. They're all working together. So you understand, folks? So yeah, they agree on that. Except when I tell folks about the 14th Amendment, and especially about Section 2 of the 14th Amendment, that voting at any election is a crime, that's where it stops. At that point, the cherry picker truthers, they were like, huh, I can't use that. I mean, even though I gave a good breakdown, I have a thread, and that breaks it down, far as how the operation of Section 2 of the 14th Amendment basically is kicking everyone's behind. A great breakdown. But a cherry picker truther don't like that. That doesn't fit into the narrative that's been fed to them through the system. You know, see these kind of people again. They're not they're not at the space to accept the whole truth, what's being done to them. Okay, they will only pick certain things that would basically support their belief structure. And I will say this: Their belief structure created by the system. Okay, so you're not a truther. You're a cherry picker truther. It's a difference. Okay. All right. Now for the third one, the third so-called truther. I call the third so-called truther a lukewarm truther. A lukewarm truther. Someone that accepts the new information that invalidates their belief structure by reading and researching and to verify the information, but still holding on to their belief structure created by the system. They accept everything. They accept voting is a crime. They accept that the one party that this is a one party system. Okay, they accept that this is not our government and that this system was installed by the 14th Amendment with the help of the Reconstruction Act of 1867. They accept all of those things, but they're still holding on to the narrative of the system. It's a little closely similar to the cherry picker truth. A little similar. Okay. I had some Trump supporters that I have to remove off my follow list. I know it looks this. I'm not picking on Trump supporters. It could be anybody, but I just want to use Trump supporters for example because they do make a great example. Um, I had quite a few Trump supporters or more that I had to remove off my follow list because they get everything, but they still support Trump. They're still going by the narrative of the system instead instead of basically um, teaching other people, okay, about the one of the biggest fraud in our history. That is this so-called government, down from the local level down up to the federal level, all the way up, folks, all the way up to the Oval Office. This entire system is fraudulent. Okay, all right, folks. But you see, the lukewarm truthers, they still go with the narrative. So I mean, so which side you gonna be on? You can't be both. You really can't. You have to make a decision. And this is my experience with a lot of folks on social media, for example. Sometimes in person it's a little different, but a lot of the vast majority of my experience that I'm sharing on this audio so far, the vast majority is through social media. And I don't know what's going through someone's head, and especially the lukewarm truthers. I don't know how you able to accept and get the whole information and through reading and research and just literally it's all verified. Okay. And then you go back and to still holding on to this, for example, Trump 2024. I don't get it. I mean, it's truly amazing. Um, these people are definitely. Well, I mean, like I say, they brainwash, like the other two so-called truthers that I listed. But the thing is that it comes down to this, and this is for all these three lists of so-called truthers that I mentioned. It comes down to this: it's your pride and ego. This is one of the things that's holding people back, and I will say complacency. That falls there too. But folks, you know, the more you stay ignorant with this information. Now, I'm gonna just put it like this. Okay, this is not my information or my truth. I share the truth. Okay, everything I put out there, everything I put out there in social media, for example, it can be verified. I always encourage people to do the research. Don't take my word for it, but I get hard on people on social media that's been following me for a while because I'm like you have the audacity to complain, but when it comes down to it, right down to it, the root of the problems we face, you don't want to be dedicated to sharing and exposing the system and educating other people. See, I'm educating people, sharing knowledge and everything, but no one doesn't have to listen to what I gotta say. That's up to you. There's very few people that's dedicated in sharing this. Not that I'm going to give up. No, I'm going to keep sharing. Um, but the way my mind works is that you have the everything you going through, all the suffering. It could be from you dealing with the Gestapos. It could be from why are men and women constantly being or intervening overseas? What is going on? For example, okay, or why you're a tax slave, okay, or why the system's constantly oppressing you in every corner you turn. See, all the stuff you complain about, and you have the root, you have knowledge out there that literally points the root of the problems you face. I mean, a real truther would take that knowledge and literally go all the way. I mean, yes, you're dedicated, okay? Someone that's like, you're in it. Because when I first learned this almost 7 years ago, there's no turning back. There's absolutely no turning back. And that's why I see myself, I look at my tweets, I'm always consistent. Always, always consistent. Okay. And I talk about the same thing over and over and over and over. And yeah, I get it. A lot of people are just tired of seeing the stuff in their feed, whatever. Those people, they just not ready. And those people, there's nothing I could do for them. To me, you're just dead weight. If you don't want to care what I gotta say, and if it's just too much, or oh, why is he always talking about the 14th Amendment? If you can't understand the reason, the core reason of your slavery into this system, there's really nothing I could do for you. You're just meant to be a slave for the rest of your life. So to go back to the top, the topic of this audio is that this is one of the problems we face is the three so-called truthers out there. That's one of the major issues that what's going on in society. I mean, I could just talk about things over and over about it, but it's like I feel like a lot of people are gonna have to learn the hard way. They're gonna have to learn the hard way. You're gonna have to suffer, and it's by your choice. And it's your doing. It's your consent. This is a voluntary system. I do my best to make it clear on social media. This is a voluntary system. But the political circus is so great and it wraps people around, it just wraps people's minds. It's just truly amazing that they just can't get off the dog and pony show between these people in office. So you got people that believe in Trump, and I'm like, I challenge these Trump supporters on different things. I get crickets a lot of times. They just can't see it. They blame this socialist dictator Biden about this so-called the Rona, okay? And I can't say the C word, but you guys understand what I mean when I say Rona, okay? So, because I just don't want to be flagged. I don't know. I'm new on YouTube and I just try to like avoid saying certain keywords. So I'm talking about Rona. Okay. So when I told Trump supporters, for example, that, well, I had to do a little reminder that Trump created the federal guidelines in 2020 to order the insurgent governors to impede on people's um, basic freedom, right? What do I get? Crickets. That's right, crickets. So so when I see that, and through time I see that people are literally brainwashed. I know it's I don't know any other fancy word I could put it. I just put it like just basically plain and simple. People are just brainwashed. They're holding on to an idea that's been created by criminals. Uh, they know how the system knows how to play with people's emotions very well. They always constantly studying human behavior. They know how to get in your head. So, for all you Trump supporters, Biden supporters, or whoever that's listening, whoever you support that's in office or the former, and I will just use, for example, Ron Paul, right? There's a lot of Ron Paul fans out there. And I tell folks, for example, about Ron Paul, that he's also in bed with the totalitarian system that he talks about, right? I mean, you got it. You just think about it now. He talks about corruption in the system, but he never really talks about the 14th Amendment. He never really talks about what type of government we have, meaning what happened to the republic? What happened to our republican form of governments in the several states? Why, it doesn't talk about the Reconstruction Act of 1867. Ron Paul never talks about. He never talks about the 14th Amendment, especially Section 2. Section 2 is the most wicked section of that amendment. And it's very technical. That section is very technical. It's very hard to understand that section until that's why I created these threads. I have these threads that I've gotten from a well-researched material for anybody that's willing to take the time to read and research. So you got to study the threads, study the clauses in Section 2 of the 14th Amendment, okay, and how it's working against you. But anyway, to go back on Ron Paul, and I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna wrap this clip really shortly. So what I'm trying to say about Ron Paul, he talks about corruption, but then he doesn't talk about different things, the important issues. He doesn't expose this entire system, and he doesn't tell people. I forgot to bring this part up. He doesn't tell people that the outcome of voting. So whoever voted for Ron Paul back then, right? What happened to the people what was the outcome when people voted for Ron Paul, for example, right? People waived their natural rights. He doesn't tell people about how Section 1 of the 13th Amendment goes hand in hand with Section 2 of the 14th Amendment. Hmm? You know why Ron Paul won't talk about these things that I just shared? Because he has an interest in the insurgent system. He has an interest. So all the people, even I'll mention Jesse Ventura. Yeah, I grew up watching Jesse Ventura back in the WWF days. When he was governor in Minnesota, I have never heard that man talk about boo about even close to the things that I talk about. Not one. And I could even go about Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? All these people that we grew up back in the 80s and the 70s, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger. How come he didn't warn people in California about the voting issues on Section 2 of the 14th Amendment? Hmm? Right? Because there's an interest in the fraud. There's interest. And you want to know what that means? You want to know what the investment is? The investment is to keep people like yourself dumbed down, distracted with the dog and pony show. Okay, I know I'm going off the topic of the so-called truth, but it all goes together if you literally just listen what I'm saying. Is the game is to keep people dumbed down, to control people, to get people divided, okay, to create more restrictions. to confuse people. So you don't even know what's what anymore. People don't even know what to believe anymore. Me, I just keep sharing the same stuff over and over and over. I mean, I understand a lot of stuff that I tweet or wherever I post on in the internet, it's a lot to take in. But I mean, but yes, it is a lot to take in. Our whole lives, we've been programmed to think a certain way, according to them, to these criminals. So it's a lot to take in. So my question for you, for anyone's listening, what are you going to do with your time? Are you going to continue learning? Or are you going to just sit there and say, it's just too much, it's just too much to absorb? You're just going to just go away and just not continue to learn and understand how the system's operating against you 24/7? Huh? I mean, are you going to continue to learn? Because, folks, the reality is this system is not going to go away. I mean, I do hope it collapses. A lot of people are banking on it, yes. But right now, this system is in operation and it's designed to oppress you. So if you claim to be a truther, then you should be able to accept the whole truth. And I'm talking about the uncomfortable truth. Yeah, the uncomfortable truth. You're going to have to get over your pride and ego. I can't make people think, okay? If you can't do 1 plus 1 equals 2, and if you can't use any critical thinking, okay, folks, then you're not meant to be free. You're meant to be a slave in this commercial plantation. And you could talk about how much money you want to make and all those things, all those nice things. I'm not against about making money, but I value freedom first. I value freedom first, foremost. It's you're gonna have to make a decision, and this is why I just wanted to, I just wanted to do this episode and talk about this because I'm just literally shaking my head. I'm like, man, these people claim to be truthers, and they just, man, it's like it's amazing. Just do yourself a favor. I mean, if anybody is still around listening to me, and let's say you're surviving and you're listening to me by at this moment, if this applies to you, the stuff that I share about these three so-called truthers, don't call yourself a truther. Just be honest with yourself. Just say that. Look, I like to be dumbed down. I don't care about what's actually going on. Uh, what's being done on me how the system operate through their statutory system. You know, just be honest with yourself. There's no skin off my back, folks. Anyone that's listening, you don't want to give a damn what I gotta say, whatever. That's completely on you. I'm gonna move forward. There's 300 people in the states. So I'm gonna continue to share. And then I'm gonna move on. I have my moments of feeling frustrated with people, but even I have to remind myself, like, look, you know, uh, their slavery to the system is voluntary. So nobody put a gun to your head to be a slave to their system. You've just been tricked to give consent. I have been tricked. Okay, I have public school education. I did mention on Twitter, and I'll say it here. I was in special ed because um, I was considered slow to pick up their Marxist uh, programs. So they decided to put me in special ed. You know, nothing wrong with me, but just that according to them, okay, according to the communist education system, I was too slow for them. I don't know. I guess that maybe that worked to my advantage. I don't know. But look at me now. Fast forward. I'm exposing one of the most biggest frauds out there, right? Someone with went to public school, special ed, right? I never claimed to be smarter than everybody. No one forced me to learn this stuff. I took the initiative to learn because I want to know, I want to get to the bottom of this, and I want to know what can be done to stop the madness in regards to the so-called government. What can be done? And when I find out that there's a solution, how to defeat the enemy, and all the amazing stuff that I learned, it just makes so much sense why people oppress. It makes so much sense that why people are struggling against the Gestapos. It has nothing to do about your skin color. I'm going to do a clip about the Gestapos. Hopefully, I don't know when, but definitely going to do a clip about the Gestapos. But I find out it's nothing to do about your skin. Oh no. It's about your standing in law. It's about your U.S. citizenship. It's about that you are belligerent in rebellion because you vote. If you understand what I mean by belligerent in rebellion, if you understand how Section 2 of the 14th Amendment is and how you're classified with this system, yeah, you can say, wow, yeah, I am a belligerent in rebellion. So, yeah, the system's going to treat you accordingly. Just basically on what jurisdiction you're under. Okay, folks, that is the key. One of the key things. What jurisdiction you're under, and you're not free. All the people that claim to be free and it's the land of the free, no, you're not. You pay property taxes. You got to do what they tell you to. You don't own anything really. You know, um, you don't. You're not free. You're under the federal jurisdiction. So, anyway, I think I said enough. I just wanted to talk about these three so-called truthers: the Fugazi truthers, the cherry picker truthers, and the lukewarm truther. Which one are you? Okay, and and if this applies to you, and this inspires you to really kind of like overcome your pride and ego to accept the whole truth by just reading and researching, verify the information to yourself, and that you could step out of the status quo box to actually accept the whole truth. That is the uncomfortable truth. That's great. Okay? Because it all falls on you, not me. You ain't doing me favors, whether you want to learn something or not. I'm going to make this very extra clear in this clip before I close out. So, all right, folks. If you enjoy this clip, hit the like button, okay, and subscribe. Okay, anyone out there, subscribe and hit the bell notification to all. So whenever I upload, you'll be notified. Okay, then. All right, folks. Until then, I will be back with another interesting topic. Take care.